You are tuned in to On Air with Chris Shanafelt.
Welcome back on Air with Chris Shanafelt as we continue our Player Spotlight series with the 2020 NFL Draft Class. And I'm now joined by Brandon Polk, the wide receiver out of James Madison University, by way of Penn State University. Brandon, I appreciate you taking some time this evening. Can you believe that your collegiate career is officially in the rearview mirror? And now here we are 2.5 weeks away from finding out where you'll be playing professionally?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how the time has flown by. Starting off at Penn State and going to, JMU. It's kind of been a blink of an eye, but, it's been a great experience overall.
Certainly. And let's start things off by talking about the draft process itself, Brandon. The pandemic caused by the coronavirus outbreak really threw a monkey wrench into a big part of the draft evaluation side of things, as most pro days were forced to cancel, as were official team visits. What exactly have the past few months consisted of for you since your season ended in January? How have you been trying to make the best out of the cards dealt to you and hundreds of other draft prospects as well this spring?
For me, kind of my season ended late, like again you said, in January. Kind of the week after the national championship, I was down in Florida at SPE, kind of training. And we're kind of getting close to it, and the coronavirus kind of getting started, I think, to affect a little bit more of kind of what the process was going to happen. And kind of the week before, Ed had reached out to me and told me pretty much a lot of, pro days were getting canceled. And he was like, still prepare like you're going to go next week, which would have been the 19th. But he was like, I don't know. He's like, temples got canceled. Like a lot of across the country, pro days are getting canceled. So my dad and I and Ed and Matt were all kind of sitting there trying to figure out what's the best plan, the thing that we can do to still showcase, all the training that I've put in since January. And we kind of came up with having our little private pro day with Ken here, a former GM of the Atlanta Falcons. Kind of did our own pro day there, and we videotaped it, sent it out to teams. So I feel like the situation that we were dealt, I feel like we did the best, thing possible.
Absolutely. And, as you mentioned, your pro day was canceled, unfortunately, and it was just canceled days before you were set to take part in that pro day. But as you mentioned, you did hold a private pro day workout. You filmed it, sent it out to all 32 NFL teams, and that pro day workout was led by former Atlanta Falcons executive Ken Hirock. Rumor has it, Brandon, that you blazed a 4.28 40-yard dash. Can you confirm that? And what are some of the other numbers that you recorded, if you know offhand? And how do you feel about the way that the workout went overall?
I did run a 4.28. I've pretty much been running that all basically the time I was down there at SPE. So I kind of had a good, thought process of, what I should be running, even though it was I think a couple weeks or a week and a half after I should have been running. But so I kind of knew that it would be somewhere around there. I was really happy with the time, really happy with the other times too. And then especially for me personally, my broad jump, 10-1, I've never got over 10 before, even in college. I just didn't really know how to do it. So I think that was, another one of my big accomplishments, because that was something, I wanted to break 10 on that, and, I got that done. So, I was really, excited about the whole process and just everything I was able to do and kind of how it all worked out and better from, what was dealt.
Right, and it sounds like you certainly made the best of the situation, no doubt about it. Again, we're chatting with the former James Madison wide receiver by way of Penn State University, Brandon Polk, here on air. And Brandon, taking a look at your collegiate career, you spent the first 4 years of yours at Penn State. Both you and your former high school teammate, quarterback Trace McSorley, both arrived there on campus together. What did you show James Franklin and his coaching staff there at Penn State early on that gave them the confidence to have you play as a true freshman, Brandon? Not only did you play in all 13 games, but you started 3 of those games, something that we don't necessarily see all the time in the Big Ten, a true freshman seeing meaningful snaps. What did they see in you that gave them the confidence to have you suit up right away as a true freshman?
I would say it would have been my speed. I remember from my freshman year during camp, I was kind of just, I was out there blazing, just going out there having fun, just working hard and put out there. I felt like my speed kind of popped out, and I started to make plays, more and more plays. As camp went on, because I'm trying to get adjusted to the playbook. So I just felt like as I got started getting adjusted to the playbook, my speed, and I was playing a lot faster. So it kind of helped me out, at the beginning.
And after 4 years at Penn State, you land at James Madison University, one of the top FCS programs in the country. What was the process like for you when deciding on where you wanted to go as a grad transfer, Brandon, and use up that final year of eligibility?
For the process, it was a little bit, iffy sometimes. I was kind of trying to figure out where I wanted to go. But ultimately, I felt like JMU was the best decision for me academically, as well as, athletically, and as well as location. It's about an hour and 45 minutes from my house. So I knew that, my parents could come down, and my sister as well, and come down to my games. My brother ended up living with me down there, so I felt like that was another thing, another pro for JMU. And just, the guys on the team that they had. I talked to Wayne Davis and Warren Hamilton. Those two guys were former, transfers. And I felt like it was just a great decision to go there, because I talked to them, asked them about the coaching staff, like how their transition was. And they kind of told me like how the coaching staff was. And I kind of had the same feeling, and I kind of fell in love with the coaching staff, the place, everything about it. And it was just, I felt like, I did the best that I could, and, went out there and showed what I could do.
You certainly did, and there's a lot of times where we see guys transfer from FBS programs and transfer down to the FCS or D2 level, and they don't necessarily live up to the hype. That's not the case for you, though, Brandon. You quickly became one of the top wide receivers in the FCS. At one point, you actually went 9 games in a row scoring a touchdown. What allowed you to step on to a new university, into a new team, and have the type of season that you had, Brandon? You finished the year with 74 receptions and nearly 1,200 yards, 11 touchdowns. And, oh, by the way, you were a crucial part of a team making a deep run in the FCS playoffs to square off against North Dakota State in the FCS National Championship game. What would you credit the breakout season you had to at a new university with a new team?
Definitely say, the people that I was surrounded by, both at Penn State and at JMU, if I guess I would say it first started at Penn State, because that's where I was. It's the guys that I would be around, like Saquon, Deshaun, Chris Godwin, Mike, Trace, like Miles, all those guys did certain things at practice, and I would see them doing certain things. And so I knew that in order to be where they are, they're all in the NFL right now. So in order to be where they are, I have to do what they're doing, if not more, or take pieces from everyone and kind of put it to where it benefits me. I felt like that definitely helped me transitioning over to JMU, and just seeing how those guys were able to work and what they did every day, and things that normally a lot of people didn't see, but what I saw, I wanted to make sure, I was putting that into my game, and being, first out of practice, just the little things that matter that, a lot of people just don't see. I feel like that definitely helped me. And then just being at, JMU, just the guys that were on the team, like we had the goal. We wanted to go to the national championship, not only go there but win it. Unfortunately, we didn't win it, but just to have an experience to go to the national championship. But not a lot of people, get that opportunity. So just even being there was a blessing. But again, just the guys on the team, we all worked hard. We knew we wanted to accomplish, and I feel like when you have a team like that and a great coaching staff, you can go very far.
And I want to bring up one of those guys on the team specifically, wide receiver Riley Stapleton, Brandon. How were you guys? I mean, you guys both wide receivers, 2 totally different skill sets, 2 totally different body types, but you guys were able to complement each other's game so well. What was it about that duo that was so dangerous week in and week out this past season in the CAA?
I would just say, every day, including in the summer, we're pretty much pushing each other. Who can get out to practice field first, who's catching the most balls during practice, during the whole week. Like, we were always competing and always trying to make each other better. And I feel like that goes back to just how hard we wanted, how hard we wanted to work and get to the, the national championship, because we knew what we wanted to do. They had been there before. I obviously had never been to a national championship, but they had been there before. They knew what it took. So when I got there, kind of, Riley and, along with Ben and all the other guys, kind of put in, kind of installed, like, this is what we got to do. So we came here. Riley and I, before camp, I remember talking, like, look, in order for us to be great, like, this is what we got to do. Like, there's going to be no running. Like, we had, or no walking on the field. None of that. Like, we told the younger guys, this is how we, like, want things to be done, because if you want to be great, this is what you have to do. So I feel like just Riley and I were on the same, totally different receivers, but had the same mindset. And I felt like, that's what really complemented us together. We always hung out. So it's just pretty much a brotherhood, and just the ability to compete.
And certainly a big reason why JMU made the run that they did last season. How about the overall competition level that you played against this past season in the CAA and in the FCS in general, Brandon, coming from the Big Ten? I mean, what was the talent level in the FCS better than you had initially thought it would be heading in?
Oh, no, I knew that there were no easy teams. I knew you had to go out there every week and, give your best, because you could easily lose. I mean, even Stony Brook, we almost lost that game. And so it's every game was a competition, regardless of what the score was. Like, and our coach, Montgomery, our OC, would always tell us, the game of football is not predetermined. So it doesn't matter who's number 1, who's number 5, who's number 24. Like, it doesn't matter. Anybody can lose on any day, no matter how high ranked you are. So just the ability, to understand that, and you have to go out and compete every day. That's kind of, what the mindset that I had, and definitely the mindset that the whole team had. So, I mean, the competition, I would say, it was exactly what I thought, going out there and just competing and winning your one-on-one.
A few more questions for Brandon Polk, the speedy standout wide receiver out of James Madison University, 2020 NFL draft prospect. And Brandon, when looking back 10, 15 years down the road, what will be the first play that comes to mind? Is there a specific play, when looking 10, 15 years down the road that'll come to your mind first?
I would say, the bubble I had against Towson. I caught the bubble and took it 65. That was kind of probably one of my most memorable touchdowns of my whole career. I remember just going down there. I mean, it started off with a great block by Riley again. Just the way that we kind of fought for each other. But I mean, he gave me opportunity to make the play. And again, from when I was younger, my dad used to always tell me, when the ball's in your hand, point is to score. It's not to get the first down. The point is to score. So every time, for me, I had the ball in my hand, I want to score. And then I used to tell the running backs the same thing. And even Riley, I'm like, look, you guys get the ball. The point is to score. It's not to get the first down. I'm like, I'm going to give you everything I have. If the ball's coming my way, the ball's not coming my way. I'm going to try to get my cutoff block, because if my block's the reason why you don't score, then I feel bad. So then I'm not doing it, and I'm not giving my 100%. So that would probably be the play that, kind of was memorable for me.
Awesome. And for those not familiar with your game, Brandon, how would you describe it? What is the biggest strength that you bring to the wide receiver position?
My biggest strength has always been my speed, my ability to, give the illusion and, kind of burst out. And as well as, the big play guy, the gadget guy that can, take the jet sweeps, do smoke screens, blow the top off, including special teams. So I feel like, just my ability to, use my speed to my advantage.
And is there any current or former NFL receivers that you like to kind of emulate your game after, take bits and pieces of their game and add it into your own?
Yeah, so there are, I would say, a lot of receivers that I like to kind of pick and nick at to help my game. I would say, Keenan Allen, he's one of the guys that I used to watch a lot. Even though he's a lot taller than me, just his ability to get in and out of his cut, his illusion. That also, I really like that. Doug Baldwin, I love watching him. Deshaun Jackson, I like watching him. It's just, so I feel, as well as Julio Jones, I like watching a lot of the guys. Like, even though I may not be the same height or weight or speed, you can always take something from everyone's game and kind of put it into your own games and maybe add a little twist. So sometimes I would watch like highlights of, Julio Jones, see how he's running a route that's very similar to a route that we would run, and just look at his ability to get in and out of his cuts. And he's like 6'1", 6'2", something like that, 5'9". Just being able to, use other people and how they're like getting in and out of the routes, and they're running certain routes, just illusion. I feel like in order to be a good receiver, like you need to be able to create space. Speed is not always something that can always get you open. You have to be able to know how to use it to get you open, because you can be fast but can't get in and out of your break, then you're useless. So all those guys are different types of speed. So just looking at all that and a lot of the tempo, even like Keenan Allen, he tempos a lot of his routes. And it's not always being the fastest one there. It's learning and knowing how to run the route. And I feel like that's, why I look at a lot of people run their routes and kind of nitpick from every receiver.
Hey, well said. Well said. Beautifully said, I should say. Final question for you, Brandon, and then we'll let you go. Really do appreciate your time. Let's say we have all 32 NFL general managers. They're listening to this very interview. Why should they want the wide receiver out of James Madison University by way of Penn State University, Brandon Polk, a part of their team?
I would say that they should want me. I'm a big play guy. I'm a team player and a leader. Just my knowledge of the game, continues to grow, every day. And just that guy that you can count on. Special teams, receiver, it doesn't matter. Just a guy, who's going to go out there, give them their all, and, just has that big play ability.
Well, Brandon, I really do appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on all the success, especially the big breakout season that you had in your final go-around and your only year at James Madison University. Really looking forward to seeing what the next couple of weeks have to offer for you, man.
Yeah, thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. Stay safe.